What price happiness, what price happiness? Who can truthfully say? But for every share, with tears we pay. Love is happiness, I've had happiness, but it ended one day. Now I look at life a different way. When skies are cloudy and gray, they're only gray for a day. So wrap your troubles in dreams and dream your troubles away until that sunshine peeks through. There's only one thing to do. Wrap your troubles in dreams and dream your troubles away. Castles may tumble, that's fate after all. Life's really funny that way. No use to grumble, smile as they fall. Weren't you king for a day? Say, just remember that sunshine always follows the rain. And wrap your troubles in dreams, dream your troubles away. When skies are cloudy and gray, they're only gray for a day. Whistle and dream your cares away until that sunshine keeps through. There's only one thing to do. Whistle and dream your cares away. Your castles may tumble, that's fate after all. Life's really funny that way. No use to grumble, smile as they fall. Weren't you king for a day? Say, just remember, sunshine always follows the rain. Whistle and dream your cares away.
Wrap Your Troubles in Dreams is the title of that song. It is from the original BioShock soundtrack. If you're not familiar, that's what it's from. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Talk Gaming. This episode is probably going to be a little short, a little bit weirder. Long story short, I can put up the chat as well. As I've said many times, I like having the chat up there so that people watching afterwards can still see and feel like they're part of the live experience. I'm also going to take my watch off so it can charge because it is currently dead. Okay, yeah, we're a bit scrambly. The reason I'm dressed the way I'm dressed, I have started 2 new jobs this week. And both require a lot of training, a lot of effort, a lot of energy, and they've all just been kind of crazy. Also, in the meantime, like I'm working on a couple big projects. Amazingly, actually, for those of you not familiar, I went and posted a critique sort of thing on The Last of Us Left Behind DLC. Just a couple days ago it posted, and initially I had to take it down after only like 600 people had seen it because some sort of weird copyright thing happened, which meant that basically nobody could watch it. That's essentially what it meant. There were some people that could watch it depending on the country you were in and whether or not you were on a mobile device or a certain type of console. Point being, it was super restrictive and very annoying. So I deleted that, cut out the section of audio that they claimed, and now it seems to be working. And the video is actually done pretty well. Since about 9 this morning, it's gained about 30% in views and traffic, which is surprising. So that might catch some steam and actually get going. And people seem to have enjoyed it, which I am very, very happy to hear. You look like you just left the set of a romantic epic movie. GSP or Bisping? I'm going to say GSP, just because, for those of you not familiar, Mixed Martial Arts UFC 217 is coming up very, very quickly. I think is it Saturday or Sunday? I think it's Saturday. I think it's tomorrow. Anyway, but GSP, George St. Pierre, is coming, and he is fighting for his title after taking 4 years off. He took 4 years off. This is mixed martial arts, a combat sport. He took 4 years off because he thought that he was seeing aliens and he was losing track of time. He went on Joe Rogan's podcast and kind of explained everything that went on, and it was concerning. It was like, okay, if you are experiencing that, you probably should not continue fighting. But apparently he's better now, and he's one of those French Canadians. So he's like, I'm so happy to be here. I'm really excited to come and fight Michael Bisping. I'm going to kick his ass and going to have good time. Yeah, he's like very Quebecian. Is that what they're called? Quebecians? Quebecs? I don't know. Anyway, yes, we're here. We're going. Also, I got many complaints. I know we're just throwing stuff out. But also I got complaints about popping noises, which is when you get air pushed into the actual cardioid sensor of a condenser microphone such as this one. So I finally just went, and instead of this stupid blue foamy thing that looks a little better, kind of like a big dildo, I went with this guy, which is actually hopefully going to improve that. But all of that said, yeah, very Tommy Wiseau. That's what GSP is. I've been playing a lot of Assassin's Creed Origins. I've always liked to hear what you guys have been playing as well. So if you want to throw that in the chat, it will be forever immortalized on this stream. So you can even look back and see what you were playing in the future. And those of you watching in the future can also see what other people were playing. Right now, I've been playing a lot of Assassin's Creed Origins. And I gotta say, how anybody could give that game less than whatever they gave Horizon Zero Dawn is beyond me. Because in my opinion, that game is way better than Horizon Zero Dawn. And I'm somebody who pre-ordered Horizon Zero Dawn. I played through it all in the first, like, within a week of it being released. I was so into that game, and looking back on it, I'm not as impressed, and especially after Origins, I think that it's actually kind of pathetic in comparison. As I've said for a while now, I think Horizon Zero Dawn was a really good first attempt. I think it was a really good sort of, shall we say, tech demo almost, and now I'm ready to kind of move on to something more meaty with a proven formula, and Assassin's Creed Origins offers that in such insane volume. It's honestly hard to go back and play Horizon Zero Dawn. I felt this after playing The Legends of Zelda Breath of the Wild, where you're able to climb anything and then use your parachute, and then I went into Horizon Zero Dawn and tried playing that, and I found myself jumping off cliffs because I just assumed that I could glide down them, or trying to climb up a glacier, but not realizing that that's not a mechanic. If they can add that into the next game, into the sequel, whenever that comes, I will be a happy camper, and that's frankly what they need to do. Let's see. Yeah, Origins, I've really become I'm very firm in my belief that Origins is just a better open world game in general compared to Horizon Zero Dawn. Horizon Zero Dawn, again, very impressive, mainly impressive because nobody saw it coming. But if Horizon Zero Dawn were launched under the Assassin's Creed umbrella, people would praise its graphics and its art style and its kind of original look, but everything else is kind of falling flat. And I really like Origins. I really, really like Origins. And especially after the 1.03 patch, it seems to be working well. I have been having trouble with shadow play. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that or if you use it, but shadow play is something that I've been having issues with. My performance is not as good as it could be. I've been able to get a steady 60 FPS at 1080p, and I'm happy with that. You know, I'm satisfied with that, but I'm running off of a 1070. There's no reason I shouldn't be able to get around 4K, or at least up with what the Scorpio can do. Oh, sorry, X can do, but yeah, Geralt says Origins runs badly for me and I wasn't hyped, so meh. Well, that's fine. That's fine. And some builds, I'm sure it doesn't work too well with. When I had a, I think I've seen Geralt post about having an R9 380. I had a 380 before I upgraded to the 1070, and it was a big difference. It was a big difference. I'd be interested to hearing what your VRAM rate is, because they have two models of that. They have a 2 gig model and a 4 gig model. And the 2 gig is very, very bottlenecked for modern gaming, but the 4 gig does a decent job. Yeah, I would say it's better than anything after Assassin's Creed 4. There's a couple, I don't want to spoil it for you in case you play it, but there's a few sequences in Origins where I'm like, oh crap, I understand why Ash, the director, didn't want to talk about this, because there's been a few moments where I was really impressed. The one thing I've consistently been let down with, though, is the soundtrack. Big moments, like big moving moments where I was expecting something massive to hit, or it's a big moment in the story, and then the soundtrack in the background is just kind of like bing, 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 bong, bong, bing, 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 bong. It just wasn't that satisfying. So, but yeah, that's what I'm playing. I'm really enjoying it. I'm trying to get through it and at least get to the point where I can begin cutting together pieces for the critique I'm going to be doing on that. And again, unlike pretty much every other YouTuber in existence, I'm not going to be rushing my review and assessment of Assassin's Creed Origins. I think there's no doubt that most reviewers rushed it. There's just no doubt. Places like IGN, GameSpot, they probably would have gotten the codes a week or two in advance. YouTubers got them about 3.5 days before launch, or at least before the embargo lifted. So they had to play through this entire game, which once you play it, you realize how massive the game is. They had to get through it in like 2 days, and I don't care what you're doing. If you're playing without sleeping, if you do that, you're still, you know, you're going to be exhausted, and you're probably not going to have as good a time as if you took your time with it. But there's been a few YouTubers, I won't name any names, but there's been a few who I was gravely disappointed in. I was not impressed. They rushed their way through it. Now, for those of you who watch the show consistently, after a 10-minute vamp, I usually need to get a drink, and I usually have a coffee, but look what I've got. I wonder if you can actually... I wonder if you can, if I can pull this up. No, it's not working. Never mind. Anyway, but I have over here some trash, and look at this. Look at this. Trash. Gallon of chocolate milk. And that, ugh, you gotta love when you plop a drink down and then the entire desk shakes. Damn it. That is my refreshment for the day. So this is what we're gonna drink while doing the show today. But with all that said, we're ready to just jump into our main topic. That's good. That's very good. Shout out to my brother Ben for getting that for me. It's too sweet. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. So, our main topic for the day is a little bit fugazi. It's a little bit shady as to what exactly we're going to get into, but there's been actually a large outcry. And the moment I realized I wanted to talk about this was when I was just casually watching, like, or going through news videos and browsing some news websites to get updated on everything, to kind of keep track of what was going on. And I realized that most of these news publications were talking about video games all of a sudden, which is not a common thing. It's kind of bizarre, but most mainstream media tends to ignore the gaming industry. It's almost like we are the super successful younger brother that the older brother doesn't want to recognize because it makes him feel inadequate. That's kind of what mainstream media is doing, where video games are for nerds. They're for people who, you know, live in their mom's basement or like are whatever they call them, perma virgins or whatever they are. They are the social outcasts, and because they're socially outcast, or maybe because of the gaming they're socially outcast, either way, the gaming is not a positive thing in most of these instances. And once again, these news publications were discussing gaming in a fairly negative light, and I wanted to look into what precisely they were discussing, and I'm sure you can figure it out if you've been watching some of the big announcements and things that have been made in the last few or last week or so, which, of course, if I can pull this up, I believe I got it ready. Here we go. Booyakasha. Which, of course, would be The Last of Us 2, Part 2 trailer, which, to be fair, is horrendously violent. I did mute it, right? Yeah. It is horrendously violent. And that's part of the reason that they did it. Neil Druckmann said they wanted to make sure that this game looked grounded because there have to be stakes. There has to be a reason for you to worry about Joel and Ellie. They don't want you to just feel as though there's no threat, there's nothing to be concerned about, because then all of a sudden you cease to care about the characters. And when you see this type of thing going on, it gets very concerning, and naturally you have a guttural reaction to it. And this is actually something I referenced in the critique for Left Behind, specifically that I think the use of women in this trailer was actually pretty handy. Oh, look at that. I just realized this. Look at this. I only just realized this. This makes me a bad person. Look, his guts are hanging out. Do you see that? His bowels are hanging out of his body. So yeah, it's pretty gruesome. This is not something that you would want to just, you know, pass around the classroom. And then they start to essentially try to lynch her, and she's hanging in the air. And it's very gruesome. If you want to not watch, I don't blame you. So the point being, the reason that we're discussing this is because these news publications were pointing to this and saying games have gone too far. This is not okay. You know, we like that there's women and, you know, butch cut chicks and then these sort of Princess Leia lookalikes. But still, they do look... this is still incredibly violent. This is why I think that I don't remember exactly what she says, but this might be a flashback. That might be like Ellie's mom or something. I don't know what exactly is going on, but either way. Yeah, so I mean, it's very gruesome, and you're about to see one of the more gruesome moments, and this is really well shot, to be fair. I mean, it's all one camera motion. There's no cuts. You know, this is like a filmmaker's dream, is to get this rehearsed so well to the point where you can just do that. And of course it's video games, so there's some cheating involved, but this is why they want to make sure that there's stakes. There's reasons for you to care about the characters, which is not something you see a lot in most video games, because it requires a big commitment, something that, you know, a lot of writers don't want to go for. I watched a few YouTube channels that also expressed frustration at this. Pretty Good Gaming, I believe is what they're called. I heard they did a video where it was really like, oh no, they shouldn't have posted this, it's too violent. But they're from the UK, so I don't consider them, you know, focused on freedom and all that. This part's really cool. Gadushin boom. There it is. Yeah. And then she goes goose-eyed. There we go. And then this jerk. Look at this jerk that just comes out. Like, look at this. Look at this butthole. Right there. Look at this butthole. He's like, oh, woman hanging? I think it's a boy. I think my girlfriend said it looked like a girl. I feel bad to say I can't tell. When you shave someone's head, it becomes tough to tell. She looks like a girl. The one on the right looks like a young man. I don't know. Either way, I guess you could say it's an effeminate man or a manly woman. I don't know. Either way, the one on the right, I think, is a dude. But just like, oh, cool, this woman's choking. And then he goes off and he gently, like, come on, man, you're a bad person. But yeah. Let's see. There's that, that there's a sin in her. Yeah, oh yeah, with her. Yeah, I could understand if this is Ellie's mom. And then perhaps this is right at the outbreak, and that's Ellie's mom, and these are the people that you start playing as, or at least that you get introduced to while going through flashbacks, and then you're going on like a revenge tour to kill everyone who killed your mom or something. I don't know. It just ends up sounding cliche whenever we try to come up with a hypothetical, but they're very insistent they have the right idea. And then this, boom, right there, the clickers. So yeah, the actor who plays the bald person is a trans man. Does that mean that they are a man who became a woman, or a woman who became a man, or like a goldfish that became a dude? I can't keep up anymore. I can't keep up. It's just confusing to me at this point. If you look like a dude, I'll call you a dude. If you look like a girl, I'll call you a girl. And if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. I don't care that much to like have a heart attack every time if you look like a dude and I call you a dude, then I'm like, oh no, I'm sorry. You know, I don't know. Yeah, she's got good triceps, to be fair. So this is the other one. Nope, this one. This was Detroit Become Human. This was a little gameplay thing. And essentially, they're showing you a sequence where you can play as the android, which is the girl, who's essentially just like a servant or a slave. And then you have this option. I love the fox. You have this option to deal with a very difficult situation where essentially there's an abusive father and he's abusing his daughter, that one right there. And you have this moment when you can basically interact with and potentially save her life. And it's implied that if you choose not to get involved, that you can actually be responsible for her death, which is very dark, very serious. And so this naturally got a lot of people very upset and very concerned when they saw this, because all of a sudden this is dealing with some deep, intense topics. But I actually heard an interview from the writer of Detroit Become Human, and he's done some other stuff. I think Heavy Rain he did. And he essentially talked about how video games are an art form, and art in general tends to tell stories. Yeah, so this is the very difficult to watch sequence. And so you essentially have this option. Oh, I want to hurt him so bad. Oh, see, it's hard for me to watch. And then you see that, and it's kind of implied. Like her eyes are stuck open. Yeah, so you kind of see what they're going for. Things could have been different. So it's very dark and difficult. But that's the thing that the author said, is that video games as an art form, art imitates life and tells stories. And it's we typically only tell stories of these sort of stereotypical hero tropes, and we don't often go and tell the really dark stuff, even though that is just as big a part of it as everything else. So I think there's a lot of stories still to be told, and in general we've really only scratched the surface in terms of the types of stories that can be told through this medium. And so yeah, I mean, this game looks pretty interesting. After seeing this, I'm actually, as gross or bad as it is to say potentially, I am intrigued by this, because this at least shows that they're willing to go in and try some stuff. Like, look at this. I love these branching narratives. I think it's absolutely fantastic. So yeah, coming 2018. I'm actually excited for that. And I believe that's a Sony exclusive as well. Yeah. I'm not sure if it's an exclusive, but I believe it is. I think they said Sony Presents. And Lord knows they aren't sharing that. Yeah. So it's an exclusive. Oh. Now, if it were up to me, I would, of course, say, as I just saw it, Matt Karn said, yeah, you should grow a pair and kind of get over it. I think oversensitivity is a real issue in the modern day. I don't want to have to watch that again. It hurts my heart. Oversensitivity is a real issue in the modern day, and if it were up to me, I'd just say people get over it. It's a video game. These aren't real people. Just because the stories can be real doesn't mean that this is in and of itself. How do I do this? Like that? Okay. Doesn't mean that that's not real, but nonetheless, it is just a video game. It's a story we're trying to tell. It doesn't hurt you personally to witness something like that. So, you know, grow a pair and get over it, essentially. That's what I would say. That's what I would recommend. But I'm not the only one engaged in this. Part of the reason that this is becoming a trend is because adults are the current, basically flagship demographic of the gaming world. Didn't used to be that way. Back in the 80s and 90s, gaming was considered, for the most part, a children's activity, something young people would do in order to pass time in between, you know, basically they get home from school, they do their homework, they play some video games, they have dinner with their family, they play some more video games, maybe watch a movie together, go to bed, and repeat the process. Now, that's still true, but it's also true for many adults because the stories being told are actual stories that are deep and engaging. It's not just Mario, although Mario does have stories and is fun for adults and children alike. Those are considered more light titles, more family-friendly titles, whereas something like this, Detroit Become Human or The Last of Us, those are all very, very intense or stories to be told. So yeah. No, if it were up to me, I would just say get over it. But so many people do not function that way. And yes, Liam referenced oh my gosh, I want to see if I can find this real quick. Liam referenced something we talked about on the show maybe 2-3 weeks ago. I think it was episode 41. I want to say 41 or 40. It was around there, but we were talking about Shadow of War. And let me see, let's just Google orc slavery Middle Earth. Yep. Wow, this is a real person. I want you to remember, this is a real person. This is a real human being that actually took the time to write this and publish it with a serious face. Look at this. Look at this. Hi, Mr. Führer 33. Welcome from Switzerland. Glad to have you. This guy, let me move my head over maybe there. I don't think you even need my head, but nonetheless, it's not like there's much in there. So orc slavery made me quit Middle Earth Shadow of War. This is real. This is a real human being. When is my rest? He begged. I pulled him close to me, dominated his weakened mind, put him in my orc stable, and immediately shut down the game. It's like he's writing 50 Shades of Orcs. Like, it's so weirdly erotic, and it's just bizarre. This entire article where he's simply saying Middle Earth Shadow of War is amazing. Middle Earth Shadow of War is terrible. Horza the Dead taught me that. I love him, and I hope I have the strength to let him go, to let him get some well-earned rest. And then he goes through this thing. Yeah, this is the guy that taught him to love. He goes through this thing, and I wanted him in my arms, but this was before I'd learned how to subjugate orcs to my will. So I slaughtered him in the street, assuming he'd make good on his promise to never die. He did. Hours later, in the lush forest of Nirn, he found me. He found me. I was hiding in a bush, and there he was. He called to his fellow orcs. He said he smelled man flesh and pulled me out of hiding. After he tossed me to the ground, he told me that he was older than the dirt below me and once again mentioned that he'd never die. Fair enough. I beat him down, broke his will, and made him my personal bodyguard. Later, he gave his life, yet again, protecting me in battle. And then he came back to life. I was on my way to start another quest when he found me again. He wasn't the orc I'd fallen in love with, but a twisted wreck. His body bore the scars of recent deaths. The bone galea? The bone galea? I don't know. Was gone. Replaced by a wrought iron mask enshrining his broken features. Stitches crisscrossed the limbs he lost in his most recent battle. Someone had sewn him back together. He was furious with me for leaving him behind, for forcing him to fight and die, for using him so badly. We clashed. I won, and I reached into his mind to pull him back into my fold, but he resisted, so I killed him. Again. Hours later, he found me. The undead orc would not leave me alone. Thankfully, this time, I was able to dominate his mind, but Horza had outleveled me. In Shadow of War, the player can only dominate orcs at or below their level. All the combat and death had made Horza too strong to control. Thankfully, the game allows you to humiliate orcs to lower their level and make them more compliant. So I pushed the button to shame Horza, and his mind broke in my hands. He screamed in pain, gibbered, whatever, and said, "When is my rest?" Over and over and over again. I tracked Horza through the forests of Nirn and found him near a cliff, muttering to himself, "When is my rest?" He repeated in different intonations. He begged, he pleaded, he wondered aloud to himself. I pulled him close to me, dominated his weakened mind, put him in my orc stable, and immediately shut down the game. I haven't played it since, and I can't get him out of my mind. Like, this is a real thing that's happening right now. I want you to be sure. It's very possible that, like, the more you read it, the more you're like, okay, this guy is clearly, like, he's milking this. This is like, you know, he thought about it. It was uncomfortable for him the more he thought about it. And then he wrote this kind of as a weird tribute. To that. Yeah. Will they just be toys and tool for our amusement? Science fiction has been warning us for years that our treatment of robots and the artificial intelligence can and will backfire on us. I think about that every time an orc I've wounded or humiliated crests a hill, stares me down, and threatens my life. Like, yeah. So that's what that is. That's what that is. That's why he referenced it. I thought it was really funny. So yeah, orc lives matter right there. Gaming journalists are screaming for adult games, and then when somebody makes it, they start crying about it. It's so pathetic. Well, yeah, and like, we want adult games, and then we put out Shadow of War, and they're like, it's too close to slavery. I can't. It's making me uncomfortable. Yeah, so there's a lot of weird people out there, but at the end of the day, this is a marketplace. This is an industry. Not every game has to be for every person, and that's the simple thing to remember. All these people are getting so butthurt that one game didn't turn out the way they wanted it, that this game took too much of a stealth approach, this one had a bunch of microtransaction stuff. Just don't buy it. Like, you don't have to. Gaming is not all inclusive to the point where you have to buy everything that's released. You don't have to buy Shadow of War if it makes you think about slavery and makes you uncomfortable. I'm sure there's some games I would play that would make me uncomfortable for no reason that you would find perfectly comfortable. And that's fine. Like, that's fine. Nobody has to buy every single thing, and that's just fine. Thank you, Matt. Look at that. Look at that. That's the first time we've actually had one of those. I think they call those super chat. Thank you. Matt is the winner today. $5. You are too kind, Matt. Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Contact some of the admins on, or the moderators on the Discord, and we can get you a special badge for that. Thank you so much. So yeah, wonderful, Matt. Thank you. So this is the other thing I wanted to address. This is the other thing I wanted to address, which I found fairly interesting. And it's specifically the absence of many things that we're going to look at, because we are waiting to hear from a few big name franchises, specifically from Sony. Microsoft has some stuff kind of in the pot that's stirring. They don't have a whole lot in terms of exclusives, at least that are near. Crackdown 3, for instance, like that's I don't think I need to say much about that. They don't have a ton of stuff cooking, but the stuff they do have cooking is still a ways out. But we are still actively waiting to hear anything about a few different series, and that's what I'd like to talk about. Oh, never thought you'd see me do that, right? Get a milky mustache, chocolate milk. I like a little chocolate in my milk. Okay. So this is what we're going to discuss right here. This is taken from IGN. Give credit where credit is due. And these were 9 games that were missing completely from Sony's Paris Games Week conference. Now, I do want to stress, actually, that we do have another couple chances, at least one, I believe. Let me double check on dates. Yeah, so we do have a couple chances still to hear about all of this. Wow, Frogstad, thank you so much. Look at that, thank you. SEK 40, I don't know what currency that is. What's SEK? I feel bad I don't know what that is. What is SEK? I'm going to Google that real quick. Where's that from? Where are you from, Frogstat? Swedish? That's Swedish? That looks Swedish. I'm getting Swedish stuff. Swedish current. Yeah. SEK. Is it called SEK? Is that what it's called? Okay. Okay. Well, wonderful. That's about $5. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah. And again, if you donate anything through the super chat or through Patreon, then go ahead, let the moderators on Discord know, and they'll give you a special badge over there so that we can all recognize you for being so awesome. Wonderful. So these are the games that we're missing that were particularly of note, and that is I gotta click first, and that is right here. Days Gone, first of all, is something we did not hear, and the reason, this is what I was looking up. This PSX, we do have one more chance to get something, one more big chance, and that's Sony's PlayStation Experience 2017 event that starts on the 9th of December, about a month from today. So they still have the chance to talk about some of this stuff and to bring it up, which is pretty cool. So, yeah, so it's not like we aren't going to see anything more about these titles before the end of the year. And I believe Sony actually confirmed that there's going to be at least 7 new titles outright announced that currently are not announced by the end of the year. And we can talk about what those might be, but we're going to, kind of see that naturally as we get closer down the list. So the first one, Days Gone, this is a game a lot of people are excited about. It's sort of a blend between The Last of Us mixed with, I don't know what you would mix it with. Basically an open world, third-person shooter, take your pick. And it seems pretty interesting. It seems pretty exciting, and I'm kind of excited about that. So I would like to hear more about this guy, but we already do know a fair bit about it. And so it's there. We might hear more by the end of the year, but it is coming out in 2018. At least that's the schedule right now. Dreams is, let's see, where is it? These major, oh, well, Dreams is just a little game that was mentioned and was shown off, but we didn't hear much about it since then, so we might hear more. This right here, Death Stranding, of course, we haven't heard much about this. Let's see their impressive new studio space. Let's see what this looks like. Mute. Play. Of course, it's an ad. Damn it, Overwatch and T-Mobile. So yeah, not Overwatch, Death Stranding we haven't heard anything about, but again, that's a game you shouldn't expect until like 2019-ish. It's a ways off. So I wouldn't expect any major updates anytime soon. Oh, there's a but. And they're going to be using the same engine as Horizon Zero Dawn has been using. Look at that. That's great. I want to see their actual studio space. Yeah. So this is what they're saying, is that they use the same engine. Come on. I want to see the studio space. Come on. Anything? No, I guess they're not I guess they're just talking about what they have. Anyway, yeah, so the ball is rolling. They are doing stuff, but it's very early development, and we haven't heard a ton, but that's understandable. Wild. As they said, lightning doesn't strike twice, and given that we saw the return of Beyond Good and Evil 2 at E3 this year, the odds weren't in Wild's favor. We last saw Michel Ancel, a non-Ubisoft game, at Paris Games Week in 2015, but it's been 2 years and we haven't heard a peep about it. Please, Michel, give us more giant bears and spooky snake goddesses. Yeah, no, I remember seeing something about that, but again, we haven't heard anything about it. If they play another ad, I'm going to scream.
Nothing is more beautiful.
There we go. Yeah, it's an ad. So yeah, we didn't hear anything more about that, but that's not really a surprise. Ooh, thank you so much, Gigil. I always feel bad when I don't know how to pronounce these names. I feel so bad. Thank you. Not a lot, but I just wanted to show new valuta too. Yeah, well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. 100 rupees, rubies. Is that Russian? Russian? Yeah. I'm really bad with national currencies, so I feel bad. Rubies. Rupees. I think it's rupees. Anyway, thank you so much, Gisha. Again, let the people in the Discord know, and they'll hook you up. So this, yeah, this is kind of what they were showing off. It seemed kind of cool. It seemed weird and artsy, kind of impressive. He looks very French. Very French. And so, yeah, like, it looks like it could be cool. It's kind of a mix of, what was it? Far Cry Primal, and maybe mix it with a little bit of Hellblade, a little bit in terms of the art direction and some of the creatures. That's what it kind of reminds me of, but we haven't heard much about it. Red Dead Redemption 2, didn't hear anything about, but that's understandable. Rockstar basically heads it up. If they choose to grace you with their presence at one of these big conferences, it's something you should be very proud of and thankful for, because really Rockstar can just put something out on YouTube and in 24 hours it has 30 million views, so they don't really need these conferences. We didn't hear anything about the Final Fantasy VII remake or Kingdom Hearts 3, Shenmue 3. We didn't hear anything about any of those. As for Bloodborne 2, this is one I was hoping to see. This is something I would like to, I would expect to at least hear something from software, probably during PSX. They had a game that was scheduled. We know that there were leaked kind of things that they put out there. There were discussions of a game of theirs being released in 2017. You could expect maybe it was pushed back into 2018, early 2018, something like that. But nonetheless, you would still expect them to have talked about it at this point in some respect, and they haven't. So I would expect to see this at PSX. That's my PSX prediction, is that we will see something from software, possibly Bloodborne 2, or a new cross-platform game from them at that conference. That's what I would personally expect. I did see a couple questions. Let's address those questions, and then we'll need to wrap up because I do have an appointment to get to. Right here, from Murray Hislop. What are your thoughts on the comparison of melee combat between The Witcher 3, Assassin's Creed Origins, and Horizon? Well, I mean, people are going to make comparisons all the time, and I don't really blame them for making those comparisons, but I would like to offer my input and opinion of those comparisons, specifically how I would line them up. The Witcher 3 offers pretty standard sword play, I suppose. Yeah, basically, when you get in combat, you're going to be fighting people in much the same way as many other, or the vast majority of pretty much everybody else. You're going to be dealing with combat in much the same way, but you can't really, you know, how many other ways are there to fight? Like, you have magic, you have these things that you can cast, signs you can cast, but you don't really want to make that a dedicated thing. But there's also alchemy builds and things like that that you can go about with. In terms of Horizon Zero Dawn, there are different ways of playing. You can go through that game. I mostly did melee stuff. Just I knock the thing over, I dodge around, knock it over, dodge around, knock it over. The crossbow, or not crossbow, the bow and arrow gameplay combat stuff in Horizon, I actually didn't really enjoy, at least nowhere near as much as I've enjoyed it with Origins. I don't know what it is about it, what the games do differently, so much that I enjoy more. But yeah, there is a difference. There is a real difference. I actually enjoy Origins arrow, bow, whatever you'd call it, archery. That's what you call it. Archery combat much more than Horizon Zero Dawn's. And I know that's probably going to get me heat, but I'm just trying to be honest. Yeah. So that's at least where I stand with it. In terms of melee combat, a lot of crap has been thrown towards Origins for the new stuff that they've tweaked. And I can understand some of the frustration. I do want to stress there are ways that you can customize, like the damage point output. You can customize that in the menus. You can even make the HUD minimal completely, which I love. Easy customizable HUDs. I hate heads-up displays to begin with. And so the fact that they at least recognize it to the point where they, first of all, put a compass in and then also make it so you can remove big parts of it after that, I really appreciate. And I recommend doing that. As for the actual melee mechanics and combat, I've actually gotten pretty good at it. The parry system, I think, could be improved a little bit. I don't think parry should work on every single attack that comes in. I hate spears. Spears in that game are terrible. I don't like them at all. Yeah. So that's my kind of thoughts. What are your thoughts on Selena Gomez and Justin Bieber getting back together? I'm jealous of Justin Bieber. Selena Gomez is a hottie. What are your thoughts on me being sick? Well, I'd like to say I don't know why you're sick, but judging from some of the stuff I've witnessed in the Discord, some of your behavior with the other people, I could understand why you might be feeling under the weather. That's a joke because they make a lot of very inappropriate joke. Okay, never mind. Moving on. Senu, yes, Senu was something I was very skeptical about, but I've actually kind of started to love Senu, and I didn't think that it was going to make a big difference, but it really, really did. And it's kind of mixing Watch Dogs and some Tom Clancy gameplay together, adding in these kind of drone-like sequences. And sometimes I think it's overused or it's not done well, to the point where it does feel a little bit like, how does Senu know exactly, like seeing through walls? I don't think Senu should be able to do that. I think if Senu can see something directly in her line of sight, then you can mark it. But I don't like the idea that Senu can see through a 6-foot or like 2-meter thick limestone wall. I don't like that that's a thing, but nonetheless it is. Do I play Telltale games? I do in parties. I know it's weird that maybe that's not a party game, but I will get friends together and we'll go through like a Telltale game, all kind of talking about it. We order a pizza, get some candy, do things like that, and then we go through that and we all shout out what we should do. We do the same thing with Until Dawn, which is a great branching narrative game as well. I recommend it. It's actually really, really fun. Hey, if you guys don't like Selena Gomez, that's fine. More for me. And Justin Bieber, apparently. That's it exactly, Matt. I feel like I'm fighting with a flagpole when I use a spear in Origins. Did I see Maddie's newest video? In it, he mentioned your 40-second rule. I did not see his newest video. That is very cool, though. I'm glad to see somebody else is at least also getting some use out of all the work I put in. As I said in that video, sometimes you start a project and you're like, okay, I'll start working on this. About an hour later, you're like, well, I mean, I'm sure I don't have that much more to do. Keep working, and then you're like 3 hours in, and you're like, holy crap, where did that 3 hours go? Oh, well, now I'm 3 hours in. I kind of need to commit to this and just finish it. And then you find yourself like 10 hours in and you're just like, okay, I'm finally done. I'll put this out and be done with it. I was not expecting more than like 2,000 views on that video, and I wasn't expecting anyone to reference it or talk about it, but that's pretty cool that he referenced it. I'm gonna have to go watch that. He's a cool dude. He's a cool dude. What happened to your Fallout New Vegas playthrough? I'm still going through it. I just had Origins pop up. I wasn't expecting to love it as much as I am, and I wasn't expecting it to be as long as it is, and it's that's what she said, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm really, really enjoying it. So we'll get back to that, but New Vegas is not a game that I need to hurry with. That's a game I can put out a critique on in between big releases. So that might be like early December-ish, maybe late November, something around there. That's what I would expect. Will you be reviewing any upcoming games, or are there any you are excited to play for pleasure? Origins, I'm really enjoying. Super Mario Odyssey, I don't think I'm going to cover that on the channel for copyright reasons. Nintendo makes it very it's not profitable to even try. Plus, my audience isn't super interested in that to begin with, so I think that's something I could play for pleasure. I want to play more of Divinity Original Sin. I'd like to make my own campaign in Divinity Original Sin 2. I think that could be really fun, so I'm excited for those. But okay, let's jump into the final flush. I know I said this was going to be a shorter video, and I'm kind of bad at making videos shorter. Yeah, everyone's talking about Selena. I just looked back through the comments, and yes, everyone is. I love it. So, yes, Hollow Man, there is some current time stuff, but just like in Black Flag, in Origins, there's a few cutscenes that you have to go through that kind of vaguely explain everything that's going on. And then you're back in the game. They understand that most people are not playing those games, just pushing through the historical sequences to get to those modern day sequences. So I can appreciate that. Let's see. Did you watch a new cool video about Overwatch Heroes? No, I haven't really seen any of those. But okay. So it is time for the final flush. I'm going to pause. I'm going to pause the chat, or at least close this down. You can go ahead and throw some comments into the chat. I'm going to freeze that. Essentially what this is we're trying to do something funny. So you put something in the chat trying to make me crack up or laugh or whatever. And if I crack up while reading it, then shame on me. And whoever got it to happen wins. And then if I don't crack up, then I win that week. And so we're going to see if we have a winner. Let me get my timer out. Yeah, look at that. We've gained like 20 subscribers just during the stream alone. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. For back in like March and during like June, July, I was getting like, when I first launched that Witcher 3 critique, which I did not expect to find any success, but it's done really well. I was getting hundreds and hundreds of subscribers a day. It was really nice. Now I'm getting back up there just because of the increased volume, more people watching consistently, which is absolutely fantastic, and I'm very thankful. So thank you to all of you. Let me get my stopwatch right there as I whack everything around. Okay. So yeah, if I didn't explain it clearly enough, there is a slight lag between what I'm saying and what you see, and by the time I see the chat. So you're putting something in, you're trying to get me to crack up, blah, blah, blah. I read through them. I'm going to give myself probably about 60 seconds because I'm running late, and we'll try to just blast through them. I'm going to read them off, just try to get through them. And then whoever wins, wins. Let's go for it. I need to pull the chat over here though. That's what I need to do. Go like that. And the final flush right here. It always jerks a little bit, so I'm sorry. And it's going. Okay, so damn it, it did it again. Where was I? Okay. I started the Selena stuff. I think the modern day stuff is the best since AC3, probably. What do you call a herd of cows masturbating? Beef stroking off. I forgot I wasn't supposed to laugh. I'm sorry. That's not funny at all. That's really good. I'm copyright claiming all the comments about Selena. Yeah, retroactively, I love it. What's the difference between your wife and your job? After 5 years, your job will still suck. Want to come lick science with me? Lukey Poo, Firefly is pretty, Firefly is pretty fitting name for them. It matches their lack of intelligence and short lifespan. Are traps gay? A little bit. Are frogs gay? Very. Summer is good for YouTubers. Yeah, I found that too. It's good for everybody. Why did my Asian friend think I was having Chinese food? I don't know. Hey Luke, did you hear that Gaffoud/Danny can split a woman in half with his phallus? It's true. If he means splitting her side, laughing at its small size. Oh, that's good. You guys are savage. I love it. What's the difference between me and a tree? A tree is supposed to not move. Oh, it's supposed to not move. Why did Jewish men get circumcised? Because Jewish women can't touch anything unless it's 20% off. That's really good. That's really good. That's really good. I'm not laughing at that. That was a very serious statement just read off there. What do you call a guy? I know I'm jumping all around. I'm trying to get back to where I was. What do you call a gathering of black people? A gathering of human beings, you racist. Want to sit on my face while my girlfriend watches? Oh crap, I met my mom. Oh. Nowadays, how you call... Oh wait, I lost my place. Nowadays, how you call a man with power rapist? Cra. Why did my Chinese friend think I was having Chinese food? Because my kitten was sleeping in a food bowl. Oh, I saw this guy step on the Rolex I dropped at a party and then started sexually harassing a woman. I immediately punched him and knocked him out cold. No one does that to women. Not on my watch. How do you get a priest to have sex with a nun? Dress her up as an altar boy. How do you name a Chinese child? You name it after the sounds of a pan calling or falling down the stairs. Ting, ting, bang. What do you call a man with no shins? Tony. Those are good, guys. I went for like 3 minutes. I'm sorry. I'm bad at sticking to my schedule. Wow, those were really good. I don't know who first got me, though. I don't know who first got me, but those were all really good. I think the first one, like the first one I read, I cracked up on because I forgot. Where was it? Oh, Gaffoud. Gaffoud Zeph. Yeah. Right there. What do you call a herd of cows masturbating? Beef stroganoff, which is really good. So congratulations, Gaffoud Zeph. You win today. Let us celebrate with our typical celebratory thing. Let me pull this up. Okay. Right here. I just got it. I just got it. Don't worry. Don't worry, guys. I got it. I got it. Are you ready? Congratulations, Gaffoud.
If we fall for, you know, a bunch of sounds provocative. funny, sounds provocative, tweets, funny, sounds provocative, tweets, funny, sounds provocative,
Pocahontas.
Bing, bing. No, she's got this goofy friend. She's a basket case. Oh, boy. Goofus.
It just never gets old. I hope this is what heaven's like. It's just non-stop this. The LSD is not helping. Oh, that's good. There you go. Go check out Place Boeing. They do great stuff. They have Hillary Clinton remixes, Alex Jones, Gay Frogs remixes. They do great work over there. Thank you all for coming out today. We had a great time. I know I did. Time flies when you're having fun. I really do believe that. Thank you to all of you who donated through the super chat. Let me see if I have access. Maybe I can. There's got to be a way I can recap and see everybody who did super chat. Is that what it is? Yeah. So Matt Carnes, thank you so much. $5 US. Frogstat, thank you for $40 SEK or SEK, whatever. I think it's the Switzerland or Swedish currency. And Gijil for 100 rupees. Thank you so much. You guys are too kind. Honestly and truly, and you're helping fund this to keep it going and to feed my addiction and hopefully yours as well. So thank you so much. I'm very thankful for all of you who are here. Thank you. I love you all, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.